getting started.
Okay, I'm ready for the slides. May I start now?
Yes, go ahead and start whenever you're ready.
Thank you very much. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching my presentation on Sunday night, sharing your precious time. This is Harumi Suga from Liberal Arts Center, Utsunomiya Campus, Keikyo University, Japan. I would like to talk about my research, an ebook extensive reading program motivating university EFL learners by competition. This work was supported by a JSPS grant from the Japan Society for the Promotion of Science. The outline of the presentation goes like this. First, research question. Second, participants. Third, instrumentation and procedures. Fourth, results and discussion. And lastly, conclusion. First, I pose the research question. When participants engage in 30 minutes of in-class reading and 30 minutes of out-of-class reading per week for a semester with frequent distribution of a progress chart of the class, reporting the total number of words read, will their English proficiency be improved? Next, the participants of this study were 74 university students in required English courses in 2020. The participants were composed of 18 freshmen, 43 sophomores, and 13 juniors. As for gender, 18 were females and 56 males. Their majors were mechanical and precision systems, bioscience, and various majors which were not English language. The proficiency of the participant was a little below average. The mean of a proficiency test, the Belk test, was 438.7, where the standard score of examinees is set at 500. Let me explain the instruments I used and class format. I used eStation by Cosmopia Publishing Company as the virtual library website. The year 2020 was a special year where preventive measures against COVID-19 were introduced. So this project was given in the high-flex class format. Face-to-face attendance were 52.7%, online learning participants 40.5%, participants who chose to take both styles according to condition were 6.8%. The instruments students utilized at school were 40 tablets carried in a roll-away steel locker with an access point on it and alcohol wipes. They shared these tablets, so sterilization was necessary. Some used their own PCs. The participants engaged in these activities in a regular class. First, they studied the textbook for 50 minutes. Second, they did in-class ER with ebooks for 30 minutes. Third, they were told to do ER out of class for 30 minutes as an assignment. They continued these activities for 12 weeks. The fourth activity, writing a book report, was done 7 times in a semester, but it was not given every week. The book report was simple. Title, level, number of the words of the book, total number of the words read, summary, or comment with no less than 100 characters. I allowed them to write in Japanese, but a few wrote ones in English. Reading quizzes were not required. I adopted O'Sullivan's way. Mary had studied ER with ebooks earlier than me at Kitano High School in Osaka, Japan. She said in her presentation, reading quizzes were unpopular among students, so I quit. As I mentioned before, the participants took the VELC test. Let me explain what the VELC test is. VELC test is an English proficiency test. The VELC Research Group for English Language Proficiency Measurement and Assessment is responsible for question writing, testing, and system developing. The headquarters is in Kinseido Inc., a Japanese major publishing company. The validity was confirmed in Shizuka, Mochizuki, and Mizumoto 2016. A 70-minute test is composed of listening section and reading section. The standard score is 500. Scores range from 300 to 700 based on relative assessment. It isn't as well known as the TOEIC, so TOEIC estimated scores are also given. The test can be taken on the home or school PC, smartphone, or a tablet. Participants took this test at the beginning and end of the course. Now, let me speak about target word counts for evaluation. In this project, 3+2 courses were set up and participants chose their own course. The main courses were A course, B course, C course. In A course, participants are supposed to read no fewer than 25,000 words. 2,500 words per week for 10 weeks. In B course, no fewer than 15,000 words, 1,500 words per week for 10 weeks. C course, no fewer than 6,000 words, 600 words per week for 10 weeks. If students could read, can read over 25,000 words, 10% best participants who have read the largest number of words, they will be S course. And if participants read less than 6,000 words in spite of trying reading some books, they will be in D course. The number of words read occupies 30% of the whole evaluation. I set up the target word counts considering these studies. Fuji 2019, 50,000 words. Yoshida 2020, 40,000 words. Suga 2020, 27,452 was the maximum number of words read in the same school in the previous year, 2019. The class ER progress chart, including 4 elements, was the new material aiming at promoting competition. It was distributed almost every 2 weeks. The first element is date, reading tendency of the members, and words of encouragement. The second element is results of the top 3 readers. Names were not disclosed except for the very last announcement of results. But these top 3 students knew what ranks they were in because their word counts were displayed at the top of their My page. The third element is number of people per word counts. Well, in this table, also the names were not disclosed, but looking at this table, students other than top 3 could recognize where they were in the class. And the fourth element is a confirmation of the paces of reading. This is just for reminder. Now, let me show you the results of the ER training. Result 1, total number of words read in 12 weeks. Figure 1 shows the distribution of the total number of words read. The maximum was 99,141, around here. The minimum was 4,772, around here. The mean was 27,635, around here. The total number of words read by most students gathered around here. This is about 25,000, a little. So 17 students were around here. Some were more than 25,000, and 70 students were in this bar, a little fewer than 25,000. Could you look at figure 2? It visually shows the improvement. Now I can say that, well, Belk test 1 stands for the first test offered before the start of ER. Belk test 2 shows the second test carried out at the end of the semester. So Belk test 1 was low and Belk test raised its score. And table 1 displays the exact number of the results of the Belk test. The mean of Belk test 1 was 438.70, Belk test 2 462.88. The improvement in the score was 24.18. Paired samples t-test was performed and the p-value turned out to be 0.000. It's less than 0.1%. Of course, it was less than 5%, so difference was significant. Now I can say the mean score of Belk test 2 improved with statistical significance. Let's see another table. Improvements in the total score, reading score, and listening score of the Belk test online. We have seen the results of the total scores, but what about the reading scores and listening scores? Total score, we have already discussed about this. Reading score is here. The mean reading scores improved from 416.9 to 444.05. The p-value was as small as that of total scores. The mean of listening scores. Okay, let's move on to listening score. The mean of the listening score was also raised from 455.61 to 476.10. The difference was a little smaller than the reading score, but the p-value was 0.001, still less than 0.15. So the difference in the mean listening score was also significant. Hence, the means of the total score, reading score, and listening score in Belk Test 1 have all been raised in Belk Test 2 with statistical significance. Answer to the research question is like this. According to these results and analyses, the means of the total scores, reading scores, and listening scores in Belk Test 1 have all been raised in Belk Test 2 with statistical significance. Therefore, the answer to the research question is yes. However, I found at least two limitations. The first one is cheating. A small number of participants were too eager to win the competition that they attempted to cheat, pressing the finish button too quickly. Nishizawa 2019 pointed out that too much emphasis on the word count can lead to cheating. He suggested some measures to avoid this, giving reading time as an assessment instead of word count, incorporating reading comprehension quizzes on the first time text into the regular examination. He suggested these in the fall seminar on ER for Children 2019. So I considered the number of words read cannot be excluded because it is an effective tool to motivate learners. It motivates learners as a straightforward gauge of progress. But reading comprehension quizzes on first-time texts are expected to address this issue. And the use of reading quiz feature on the website should also be reintroduced. The second limitation is that a few participants with the highest reading word counts had lower scores on the second proficiency test than on the first. This reminds me of Ushiro 2009 reference to empty reading. It might be necessary to take measures to prevent empty reading in which learners think they have read only by moving their eyes without comprehension of the content. They might have skimmed or scanned the books they should have read carefully. These are my considerations. So I thought reading comprehension quizzes on the first time text would be effective. The reintroduction of the reading quiz feature on the website should be considered in the next research. Finally, let me tell you the conclusion. The research question was verified when participants did 30 minutes of in-class reading and 30 minutes of out-of-class reading per week for a semester, with frequent distribution of a progress chart of the class showing the total number of words read. Their English proficiency was improved with statistical significance. The target word count seemed reasonable because the majority of the participants achieved one of the three target word counts, and because the average score on the proficiency test improved significantly. It remains to be seen if the target word counts can be set higher. Two limitations are found: how to prevent cheating and browsing in order to retain the advantages of competition and at the same time ensure at least 70% comprehension it would be useful to introduce the reading quiz feature of the website and reading comprehension quizzes on the first-time text in subsequent studies. Despite some limitations, this study succeeded in producing evidence that confirms the effectiveness on ER with the element of competition in a regular class setting at university. This has given me confidence to pursue further research. These are the references. Under the page, references. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Harumi.
Thank you, Wendy.
Does anybody have any questions or comments?